I'd like to begin by inviting public comments. Does somebody wish to speak? That's the one I saw first.
We need to.
Well, would you like to, Janet, where are?
Oh, right here's the podium.
Right at
Yeah.
that podium, please.
That way we can get you on camera.
Am I doing times or just
Yes.
start? Okay.
But could you give us your name and hamlet?
I am Simone
Yes.
O'Connor, Hamlet of Vista. What a pleasure to see everyone. When you mute a tax-paying citizen who is following rules, this board has said, you censor and suppress the rights of that person to speak freely. Randomly screaming ad hominem does not make it so. Blacking out a screen when certain people speak during a town board meeting is unprofessional and unacceptable. You were elected to represent all of the people of Lewisboro. Being on this board should be an honor, and representing our town a privilege. I have never, ever experienced such disgraceful behavior in my life. We have a water issue at Oak Ridge that has been mishandled for years. My mother is 83 and hasn't been able to drink her water for 19 years. Can you imagine the children that are growing up at Oak Ridge with dirty, unsafe drinking water? I have damaged my tendons in my left wrist carrying up water for 2 decades. Now there's a legal term that actually fits. You can yell at me, turn off the sound, black out your screen, sit mute while I'm slandered, but that only emboldens me. I will continue to remind you each and every time that you all work for us, not the other way around. You will hear us.
There was a lady just there who wanted to speak, I think. Right? No. Who else wishes to make a comment? If nobody else wishes to make a comment, I'll close. Oh, I thought somebody else had put that.
Nancy O'Reilly, South Salem. I've stood by and listened to your meetings via Zoom, and frankly, I've been appalled at the behavior of this board. You have effectively weaponized Zoom to suit your needs and agendas. From muting citizens whose views you don't like, to the smirking, eye-rolling, and inter-board calls that happen, yes, we know this, to board members being juvenile and disrespectful and blacking out their screens when certain people speak, to the outright abuse of speakers. I'm sorry, folks, tonight it stops. Mr. Parsons, I know you're not seeking re-election, but it gives you no right to run amok and make laws that you yourself have no intention of abiding by. Mr. Welch, your complete conflict of interest in this green company should be grounds for you to step down, yet you continue to profit. Ms. Crimmins, you've used your position as a bully pulpit, throwing daggers into the crowd, calling 800 plus people of this town bigots and racists. Yet last week, when a citizen basically said, if we don't approve a marijuana dispensary, we could be considered racist, all the while you smiled and nodded. That was the most racist thing I've heard anyone say on any of these forums in a long time. Don't get me started about how disrespectful you are during the pledge. Tonight, I'm happy that it changed. The flag you are supposed to represent. It's time to put your rocks down, town board. Your glass house is looking pretty vulnerable in this light. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to? Madam?
Yeah, I know, like, Dr. was trying to ask that, I just want to question and thank everyone for coming out.
Okay.
When you're trying to keep your, so if this way, you know, get a microphone or everybody speak up, that'd be great.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jimbo from Vista. Those who don't know me personally, welcome. A few board members, obviously, I have issues with, but what I'd like to start off with is, what is wrong with this picture? Memorial Day, Flag Day, 4th of July, canceled by the town board members. Private money decline, raise American flag for veterans of Memorial Day, but allowed to raise taxpayer money for pride flag for pride flag and races. Also allowed to celebrate Juneteenth and Pride Day in an outdoor venue. Town board is selective, and you cannot bring a community together when you deny your fellow citizens the right to peacefully assemble and give thanks to those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Yes, Mr. Crimmins, you could smile and smirk. You know, I understand that because you really don't care. You know, I had to lecture you about what Memorial Day is. I'm sure I'm going to have to lecture you what the 4th of July is. So, what I like to do, I probably don't have enough time, but I have a poem about our flag. More or less what I'm going to do is next meeting, I will recite it. I will give out copies to all of you. So hopefully you understand that the most important thing about a community is remember this. It's one flag, one land, one heart, and one nation. Thank you very much.
Who else wishes to speak? Yes.
I'm Katie Pace, and
Yes.
I've been emailing you guys regarding the baseball fields, and I just was hoping that that can become an agenda item so that we can see to week what is going on. And I've heard that you've started some things, have people out there looking, and I would just like to be updated and know like where we're going with that and where the funds are coming from, where that they're going to be continuing to come on a regular basis, and that upkeep's going to be taken care of. And also, I've heard that Parks and Rec is low on manpower. I was thinking maybe like high school students looking for community service hours might be a good place to pick them. Just a thought on finding people to help with some of that.
Anybody else wish to speak? Adam.
Good evening, everyone. Adam Oaks, Lewisboro, Vista Hamlet. I'm going to just read a prepared statement from the Emergency Management Committee. As New York State COVID-19 state disaster emergency has ended as effective as June 24th, 2021 of this year, the Town of Lewisboro Emergency Management Committee cannot express enough appreciation and gratitude to all of our partners and stakeholders during this state disaster emergency, which started March 7th, 2020. Our invaluable partners include, but are not limited to, our essential workers, retail workers, healthcare workers, schools, county, state, federal government partners, all businesses of all sectors, our first responders especially, our neighboring communities, including Connecticut, municipal employees, non-for-profit organizations, our faith-based organizations, our military, our volunteers, and those who also volunteered but were never called upon. The assistance, support, and guidance that all these partners and stakeholders provided our community during these times was essential and critical to get us through this disaster emergency. I'd like to personally, and on behalf of the committee, thank them all. And there's not enough gratitude and thanks I can give to all of them. Additionally, I'd like to take a moment of reflection for all those who have succumbed or have been harmed by this virus. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them and their families. In addition, one recent thought is my thoughts and prayers go out to all those impacted and involved with the Surfside, Florida building collapse in Florida. Thank you.
I think there was a lady just down here who wanted to speak. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is I just wanted to, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm just curious about the Zooming meetings and attending in person. I just think that it's been amazing being able to Zoom these meetings as patients increased and, we've been able to listen and respond, and it's great to be back in person, but I think Zooming is also important. There are lots of people that it's difficult to get here because of work and children and, you name it. I think it's crucial that all of those people be able to speak and respond to what they hear. So I don't know what the plan is, if the plan is to try to do them both or just to do this and live stream. But that's just my 2 cents, so we can maximize participation for everybody. Right?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Kevin O'Reilly, Hamlet from Lewisboro. I'd like to second what that person just said about maybe a hybrid because a lot of times I come to these meetings remotely. And I think having some kind of hybrid where you can do it also is worth trying out. I'm here primarily on the dispensary. I was very interested in that. Nancy and I have been here 25 years. I've raised 5 kids here. I can tell you the challenges of getting it through the even preteen and teen years without having that access, I think would keep me up at night. Now, we just graduated our 5th, so maybe we don't have those issues anymore. We've moved on. But I worry about if I came to this town today, I had to start again over raising 5 kids through here. Forget about school boards, but just having that access is a bit worrisome. I was ill-informed or just was ignorant to the fact that I don't think really the decision is to say, yes, we're going to have it, or no, we're not going to have it. I think the decision is to opt out and kind of throw the ball over to the town's court to say, here's what we want, the community votes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That seems like an easy, politically, okay, it's expeditious. It also puts the burden on the community to decide, well, if we want it, we all vote for it, we get it. And we deserve what we get in that regard. So I would urge you to allow that. Don't take that from us. I guess is the point. If you're not obligated to take that from us, that vote, don't take it, put it to the town, let them decide who's going to argue with it.
Because this is a very current issue, if we decide against dispensaries, then there is a vote. If we decide against lounges, then there is a vote. If we decide, if we just do nothing, then there is no vote.
Then you have to do something, which is to allow the town to make that.
All right, which means in order to do that, we've got to vote against.
That's opt out.
Opt out.
Correct.
But then again, you could be.
Sorry, I'm just trying
Sure, you
to,
opt out is the point.
Which I think is what you were saying.
Yeah. I urge you to opt out. So it comes to us, give us that opportunity. It would be, you know, whether what side you're on, the vote to me means, do I matter? Okay. If you opt out, it says your vote matters. You
okay,
can stand and you can make a decision on your own for the town. And then you really can't be held responsible.
okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? There being no, oh,
Jimmy, my name's Nick Nashville, first time here. So I live in South Salem and I tend to take a go to work. Mill River and Kitchen One. I'm going for the tangent, so but Mill River and Kitchen One is kind of a hill coming down. People fly down the hill. I have a stop sign. The other side does not. And I waited to make a right turn. And it's just kind of a hill. You can't see a car coming down. So after flying. My suggestion would be for us to look at possibly putting a stop sign.
Thank you.
could you send us an email which gives us the exact position of where you want that stop sign? Because not all of us are familiar
Yeah.
with that particular intersection. Yes, ma'am.
I am here, my name is Marissa Beatty, I'm from Oak Ridge. I'm speaking out once again about our water issues there. Our system is very fragile. It really does need an overhaul. I know that tonight you are going to be talking about increasing Delaware Engineering's budget. I've spoken out, many others have. We, the people and the committee, feel that Delaware and DRI suck. We have asked, we pleaded, we begged you for an independent engineering study. And now you're coming here today to increase their budget. And when I looked at the agenda the other day, I didn't see anything. And then when I looked at it again, I noticed that there was a line for grant writing. So I'm just wondering what exactly is it that Delaware is doing? They've failed us for years. Tony, you're the only person up here who has ever dealt with this. Rich, thank you for speaking out on marijuana. That's great. But you sat on the planning board for all of this development. You never had a real assessment of our system. We just got notified that our levels of lead are not compliant. I have children. There's lead poisoning. Like, there's things that people are constantly doing to take care of their children, and I can't let my kid take a shower or a bath for more than 15 minutes. That's crazy. It's unacceptable. You're spending money on Pride flags and alcohol for gay rights and pride. Great. But that $1,000 could have been reimbursement for the last water bill that we were given. It's so unacceptable for you to even approve any money for Delaware without bringing it to the people of Oak Ridge. We're the ones that are paying their bill. You let Cuomo give us another opportunity for funding. We missed it. And if you look at the list that is provided, I'll email you that link. There's 37,000 linear square feet of line going in to give clean water to a community, and it's not us. We live in Lewisboro. We have the highest taxes. This is unacceptable. It's in our schools and it's in my home. It's unacceptable. And I'll be here every single meeting telling you it's unacceptable until something changes.
Yes.
Robin Langenowski, Vista. I don't have anything to say in particular except, well, how did we get here? How did we get here? So many people are unhappy. This is the most divisive, unhappy that I've ever seen this town in 22 or 23 years that I've lived here. I used to.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but please, Ms. Crimmins, Walsh, can you pay attention instead of playing on your notebook? The other town members are paying attention.
I'm taking notes on what she's saying. Is that like, okay?
Why don't you just listen, because you know what she's gonna say.
All right, we're not having this dialogue here now.
But, okay,
Please.
we gotta listen to us, Dan. It's my time, it's interrupted. You
Right.
gotta stop cutting people off. No, stop. So
Okay,
this
I'm
town
sorry,
is
you
so-
just came to the podium and said you don't really have anything to say. And
Well, I
you're
can say
going on
whatever I-
about how divisive things are.
This is
That
what I'm
is
talking
not,
about.
like, there's no
Just
content
sit and
here.
listen to
I'm
unpaid
sorry.
salary. Okay, you profit off of us through Sustainable Westchester, so you need to just listen to what everyone has to say.
Okay,
Let me just finish. Stop. You do this all the time. Is it because she's a woman? I don't think you. I don't know. You like even like. thinks about that. I know. I don't know. He just cuts people off and then uses their time up. I'd like to restart. Is that okay?
no, not really.
No, not really.
No, this is not, like, this is
Let
time for
me
you to
fin- I'm
transfer
speaking.
information
I
to
did
us.
not, I
Listen,
didn't reach
it's-
out to you. I
we
didn't
are-
say one thing.
Let me just make it clear
Oh my
here.
God.
Let me,
No, I will not listen to you. I've had it. Let me
that's okay
speak.
too,
I
but
had
I
it.
just want people to
Stop. Everyone
understand.
wants to hear me, not you.
I-
I want to hear.
Then
her.
you guys can hold a meeting somewhere.
What? This
I
is
just-
this public
I just
comment.
want,
Yeah,
I
This is
just,
our
have to
town
pay
government.
attention, that's
This
all.
is
I'd
our
like to
meeting to
explain.
speak. This is our meeting. No.
All right,
we're
let's
not
give it-
saying-
Stop. Can we just,
I'm-
can
I'm
you-
telling
can you say what you'd like to say?
Yes, he told me I can't. but
No,
she needs to start.
can you say what you'd like to say?
Yes, I will. Are we starting over? Is that okay? What I came here to say was that I've lived in this town a long time. My family, as you know, Mr. Parsons, You've lived here with them since 1959. I have never, ever, ever seen anyone this unhappy. It's really disturbing. The water at Oak Ridge was never really drinkable. Now it's poison. The water at Meadow Pond is not drinkable, which it wasn't for a long time either. There are kids in Vista that go to school and are exposed to that water. They live in Oak Ridge, they're exposed to that water. I do own a unit there, which is why I'm speaking to this. And it's very frustrating to hear that we're doing this party and that party, but we can't fix the water. And I know Tony's working on it, but I don't think Tony has support from everyone else that this is an urgent matter. Things have been in decline for, I don't know, 10 years now. So we need to get the ball fields back. We need to get the town pool, whatever it was so exciting when that was done. We need to fix the water at Oak Ridge. We need to fix the playgrounds. How did we get here? This town looks terrible and it's dangerous. How did we get here? And the only thing I can think of is in the last 10 years, the leadership might not have been as strong as it needed to be. Do we have someone worrying about the finances of the town? We can't let this runaway train keep going. We have to fix everything. Whatever it takes to fix it, we need to do it. And everyone needs to be on board with it, on the whole board, or otherwise we need new people. Thank you.
Is there anybody who wishes to comment? There being no further comments, I'll close the public comment period and move on to communications. I've got a resignation here from Peter DiVittorio from PRAC. I'll read a chunk of it. Please allow this email to serve as notice that I am retiring/resigning from PRAC as of this date. While this was not an easy decision to come to, I do believe it is the right decision. My initial interest in joining the committee was to give back to the community that had given so much to my family throughout the years. PRAC seemed to me like the most practical and efficient way I could serve given my skill set. I have completely enjoyed my time on the committee and hope that my input has been of some value in the ongoing operation and improvement of Lewisboro and the Parks and Recreation Department. He goes on to explain more personally and explain that he is spending a lot of time now in Florida, which is why he has decided to resign.
Thanks for his service. Long time.
I've been in the custom of giving the most recent COVID-19 figures at each meeting, and for ourselves and the neighboring communities. Pound Ridge and Mount Kisco are now at 0 active cases. Lewisboro, North Salem, and Bedford have 1 case each. Somers has 3 cases. As far as the vaccine is concerned, we're now talking about the population who is 12 or over. Golden's Bridge has 78% vaccinated. Cross River has 69. Walkabuck has 69. Katona has 66. That obviously is not a pure Lewisboro figure. It includes what I think of as the hamlet of Katona.
It's a post office figure, isn't it?
It's a post office figure, so it also includes a pretty big chunk of Lewisboro. And finally, South Salem is at 57%. I think it's extremely important that we try to build these figures quickly before the D variant gets into this area, which it inevitably will do. There's already been 1 case in Westchester, and I'm sure that will then granted it that it is particularly contagious. Far more so than the original variant of COVID. I think it's particularly important that we get everybody we can to get vaccinated. I would like to move on to the consent agenda and ask for approval of the minutes of the June 14th meeting. Do I have a proposal?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, all in favor? Aye. I would, as you are probably aware, on Friday morning, the governor gave up this, or ceased the state of emergency. That in essence meant that we had to renotice the two public hearings we'd been planning for tonight. The first of those was a public hearing regarding cannabis legislation. The second was a public hearing regarding the highway superintendent position. I'd now like to move that we renotice both of those for July 12th, 2021. We can't go forward and hold them tonight when we have published that they will be on Zoom, which we're no longer allowed to do. Can I have a second on that?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. The library would now like to make a presentation about the library fair. Are they here? Hello?
They were here earlier.
Joel, is there anybody
Hey,
in the back
Joel?
there? No?
Joe, is anybody from the library? No, they're gone? Okay. So they're not here.
Okay,
They were here
We'll
before.
push it to the July.
what?
Push
We'll
it to
push it
July.
to the July.
Okay.
Or past the public hearings.
If somebody from the library arrives, will they kind of wave and I'll try to fit them in? I'd like to propose, no, I don't. Dan, can you do the next one?
Before we move on to the library for a letter, you know, the date is September 18th. That's the date it's planned for library.
B, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next item is authorizing the supervisor to sign the documentation for the American Recovery Plan and Corona local fiscal recovery funds. So I move that we authorize the supervisor to do so.
Do we have a second?
I need a roll call.
Do we have a second? Oh, we
need a
just
roll
each of us vote?
Correct.
All right, I'll vote in
So-
favor. Dan's
How about
voted
if
in.
I go in order?
Okay, you call us out.
Councilmember Swearing.
Aye.
Councilmember Tony. Supervisor Carson.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is there a discussion?
Oh, you can.
Maybe we want to explain what this is, so folks are aware.
All right, this is the money which the federal government has told the state that they have to send to Lewisboro. At the same time, we have to apply for that money in order to get it. And what this is approval for me to sign the application for that money, which is 1.3 million. Sorry, is that what you were?
I was thinking this money that, you know,
It's the American
Now,
Rescue Plan.
I cannot promise that it's 1.3 million because I have not been given the final figure by either the state or the federal government.
Paragraph from the draft resolution says Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Lewisboro hereby authorizes the acceptance of American Rescue Plan Act funding and the submission of all documentation required to secure the acceptance of such funding.
Yeah, but it's really to let me sign, to let it go ahead. Without a signature, it don't happen.
Do you have any more information on kind of the whole schedule? Of how that might happen?
Yes, yes and no. The state could distribute that money at the end of the month. They can also decide that they would like to take another month to think about it. From everything I know about the state, they will take another month to think about it and to organize themselves so that they can send us the money.
So the way the federal government has forwarded money to New York State,
Yes.
New York State in turn has to disperse it to the
Yes.
locality.
Only to the smaller localities. If we were Yonkers, we would already have the money. If we were New
Not a
Rochelle,
city.
what?
Is it a city thing? Because we're not a city.
City and maybe Greenberg is already, no, Greenberg hasn't because it's got all those villages inside. But the larger, I've forgotten, I think it's over 30,000. And you get the money directly from the feds.
Over 30,000 population.
No, yes.
Okay.
Under 30,000 and it goes via the state. I'd like for Lewisboro to get that money. I'd like to, Tony, resolution on the food distribution.
This is, let's see, this is a resolution approving the 2020 Tri-Town Agreement and authorizing Supervisor Parsons to sign this resolution.
This is Meals on Wheels.
And the Tri-Town is Somers, North Salem.
Is
and
Somers, North
Lewisboro.
Salem and ourselves.
Right.
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'd like to propose a resolution approving amendment to the Delaware Agreement of August 27, 2018 regarding Oak Ridge Water District improvements. You should know that this is not the town's money. It is moving money around on grants so that we can apply for a new grant. It's kind of complicated, but that's what we're doing. I'd like to propose that we approve that. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Discussion.
Could I get a roll call for that as well? Councilmember Sweattick?
So just on discussion, so we're, you know, the amount of money we're talking about?
50,000.
And is that dedicated to a particular purpose?
Yes, it's dedicated to
The THM
THML,
project.
the THM projects.
You know,
It's right here. So the original agreement amount is 56,000, the amended amount is 50, so this additional 55, 111,000 total. Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah, it's, the original agreement amount was $56,000. This amendment amount is 55,000, an additional 55,000, which brings the adjusted agreement amount to 111,000.
So,
And this is the planning phase services for Oak Ridge Water District improvement, additional construction phase services, including construction administration, construction inspection, additional funding and grant administration services.
Tony,
Sure, go ahead.
is this for the new buildings that are being built in Oak Ridge? Or is this for the current water problem that we're having?
This is for the engineering work that went into the WIA grant that we're going to be receiving monies for the THM project, as well as the work associated with the new project.
Okay, now when you say new project, what project?
The GAC. the work that was done for designing the granular activated carbon filtration system, which is also going to be reimbursed by the grant.
Okay, so is that for the new problem?
That's for the new,
old
that's for the
problem that we have?
PFAS problem. The PFAS,
Okay, so that's for what's currently happening now.
correct.
My question is that there's going to be new buildings built.
Correct. There's an extension to the existing building, correct?
And this, right now, that doesn't pertain to that, it only pertains to the existing problem.
It's to the THM problem, but some of the work that we've recently done falls into this, like the valve work, the upgraded valves that we installed.
The only concern that I
Yeah.
have is that you're adding additional work, or Pine is adding additional buildings. on top.
This has nothing to do with Pine's work and his development.
Okay.
This is
okay,
completely, this is on the engineering side for upgrades and enhancements to the plant.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
filtration units we need to add are too big for the existing building. To put in a new building,
The plan for that, do you want me to?
so that we can,
So maybe I can summarize.
Go ahead.
So there's a plan that was filed with the Department of Health last week in May. The due date was May 31st. And that is the plan that includes the expansion of the building to include these new filtration systems, which are basically two 16-foot tall, 8-foot wide vessels that hold granular activated carbon. So we don't have room for that, obviously. So the new building needs to be built. And so those units will go in there, and that will satisfy New York State's, it's the corrective action to bring us within basically to what they call a non-detect level on this PFOS and PFOA chemical, that we're now exceeding the state limitations because the state dropped their thresholds to 10 parts per
So it's
trillion.
building on the presentation we had earlier.
But-
this year.
yes,
And just to make it clear, in terms of the current water testing and the PFAS, we are not exceeding those limitations in the water that leaves the plant. We've exceeded those limitations in the wells, the raw water. The combined water that goes through the treatment process and leaves the plant and goes to the community has not exceeded that level. In fact, there was a homeowners association test that was just done that indicated that, right, Marissa? Yeah.
Just for the record, we still are dealing with we've never fixed that problem.
So we have.
Well, not really, with the testing from 2020, on your test, not my
Right.
test, it says it has a range. And in some, on one well, we are very low at 40, and on another well, we're at 91, and the regulatory limit is 80. So regardless, and you average.
Yeah,
it,
so-
close, like on paper, we're fine.
I'll review that because the THMs are what gets, basically happens after the treatment and
Right.
after the water goes out to the development. And where the THMs were originally detected in 2017 was at Conant Valley, right? That's where they measured it.
It
But-
doesn't matter, we still have, that's the issue, we're still
I-
dealing with Department of Health on it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you, yeah, because I don't, we,
It's
yeah.
a big deal.
So
And
that-
that's why we're just questioning, why are we
Yeah.
spending it, why are we doubling this money when there's no work being done? This
Yeah.
is just moving money around, we're still, the overtrusters don't even know this.
Right.
Unless they lock on and look at the agenda.
Right.
They don't know that.
Right, okay.
So we're saying we're gonna double that amount of money.
Yeah.
For what?
Okay.
Why for this night? And I have, we're still waiting for it.
July 21st.
July 21st.
I just-
That's not a lot of time to get 809 people
Um,
to participate.
I'll get a notice out tomorrow. I just confirmed it with everybody today. So, yeah, okay. Robin is aware of it also, so, and she's the president of the association. But I'll get a notice out. I know, originally it was gonna be July 14th, but we couldn't get everyone, you know, the stakeholders.
We should be having this conversation
Yeah.
about this money after this July 21st meeting. We should be just approving these funds.
Right.
Because clearly we have. a
Well, these are
problem.
engineering services that we had already in the works, right? For the THM project and other work that they've done for us.
Now, for the money for stuff that's been done previously, to service that have been performed previously.
Correct. For the increase in services that have been done, right? Yes. The original amount, 56,000, was approved And then there was some, let's call it, there was some additional, in case of additional work.
And does that fall within those parameters?
I'm sorry?
Does what you're asking?
Yes, does it fall? Yes, it does. Yeah. And it was in a spreadsheet that was shared with the community a while back. So that was all spelled out line by line. Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'd like the board to discuss how we're going to hold our meeting. Oh, I need to vote on that? Sorry.
No discussion, so
I'll propose that resolution. Can I get a second?
I second it.
right, now I need a roll call.
You do?
So, yes.
Okay.
It's an expenditure, so Council.
Aye. Okay, I'd like us to discuss how we plan to hold our board meetings in future. Forget that we've been told that we have to hold them in person. That's off the table. The governor has taken that decision. The question which somebody brought up was how we would accommodate the rather larger numbers that have been involved in our board meetings while we've been on Zoom. The first way we're accommodating them, obviously, is by moving them out of the townhouse to here, where there are 99 seats, or we can put in 99 seats, which is way more than you could ever accommodate in the townhouse. Second, we are proposing that why don't you go on, because you've been more involved in this.
So what am I proposing?
Yeah.
The additional.
Oh,
the
sorry.
enhancements to-
Yes, the enhancements to it, that we are, first of all, we're going to film
Oh,
every meeting and it will be available instant.
it's live.
What we're
streamed.
doing now.
Live streamed on YouTube. There's a camera, so we're being live streamed, right? But the question that came up is having live interactions, so people can ask questions like they did with Zoom, and that is.
We didn't answer questions. We just spoke.
Well, all right, so I missed,
No.
so part of the change is having the ability to do a Q&A, a simplified Q&A, maybe, right? So, yeah, but we would like, so yeah, so to Martha's point about Zoom and being able to ask or comment, a mom who's home with her kids and wants to engage, I think that's something that we should consider, right? So I think that's what we need to.
And the
figure out.
second
And
thing,
it's not a technology limitation, right? I mean, there's a lot of commentary out there that, we don't know what we're doing. There's, high school kids can do it, why can't we? It's not a technology issue. It's, whether
What
we,
is the issue?
the issue is being able to, want to do this. And for this first meeting, time constraints, how to manage the, Janet was managing the letting people in and ask questions. We were discussing whether we set up a phone system. So in terms of technology issue, it could be over a phone system potentially, or it could be over the Zoom's audio feature, right? We would probably have to do it over the Zoom audio feature. And so, but for tonight, we decided to start with this, the way we have it now.
Right, you said it's not a technology issue.
Right.
The question is whether they want to. Why would
Well, kind of management thing, right? Just trying to figure out
There was a
how to
concern about how to manage it,
those
right?
pieces.
So we put our heads together and the consensus was, let's have this meeting first and then figure out, give us a little more time to figure out how to manage it. Right.
also
Right.
there is some investment probably. Bedford is spending 20,000 on this. And I'm not quite sure if that includes the extra manpower or not.
Right, so for example, the person that's talking here, we need audio to support so that they can be heard, right? I don't know how well they're being heard on YouTube right now. Okay, so that's a point that we need to, we need, and Joel and I have been discussing this, we need to get additional audio equipment to do that, additional microphones that can be interfaced to the system, right, the Zoom environment. do that.
It's not Q&A yet. I'm not aware because I'm on how much money that as far as my grants go. Because my candidate that these meetings also go over our public access television channel. And if that's the case, there should be grant money available if it's not already expended on other things that would enhance such as investing in proper microphones that hook up to the system that not only would help with the live stream of YouTube, but it specifically, purchased in relation to better letting the public access television broadcast. We've seen that it also lends itself to also making access a little more better,
Right.
would make it louder, and the response could be used
Right.
to do that. And it's my understanding that goes into those funds for the PEG money is, like playgrounds. We all know we've heard that playgrounds have a, useful life of whatever, 15 to 20 years. So do broadcast equipment, microphones, et cetera. So every time we do our application for PEG grant money, we then can incorporate in there the renewal and the upgrade of the equipment that we've already purchased over time. Every single year. So as the technology changes, we can keep in time with the technology
Right.
to allow better access, whether it be to our residents.
Yeah, we can certainly look at that. I don't think we're on channel 20 right now, because we're election running too. And it's, So Rich's point is, have the grants committee.
No, and also from the Dean's. Right?
Oh, Dean-
That as well,
Dean's
right?
committee, yeah.
Know
That's
there
true.
anything about that? Not to put you in the spot as far as availability of funds.
So Dean's on our cable TV committee, which is, the channel 20.
What's the term of that agreement?
Have we spent it all already, Dean, do you think, or not? Okay. So it is annual. The money, the PEG grant. Okay.
Separate.
Separate from the cable. There's a grant that was given out. That's something that should be by
My memory is we spent most of it on baseball, on filming baseball, right?
Well, we haven't done much of that.
No, but at the beginning,
Yes.
it goes back.
Franchise fee agreement fees, the money that we get on the subscriptions, et cetera, that the town gets in that. And then there's the PEG grant money that's negotiated with the contract, and that is specific to public access.
Okay.
channels. So my point was that, the funds that are given in PEG grant, public access, those monies could be used to better improve our public access television broadcast at the same time, that's in equipment would help with the regular meetings. So there's two
Okay.
I think we upgraded some equipment a couple of years ago, and the person to check in with would be Dean and Henry. And so it would be a good idea to coordinate with Henry Wolf and make sure that we're serving both needs. Thanks.
Okay. I think we're going to continue on the current basis until we have ascertained whether there's something better we could do. be aware that anybody can send in an email during the meeting or before the meeting, posing a question via the town clerk or via me for the board. Because that's going to be important for the first few meetings, to have some means of communication between those people who are watching at home and those people holding the meeting here. I would still encourage people to come to the meeting. It is far more, you will have more impact if you come to the front and make a statement or ask a question right here than you will if you send an email or something else. Next item. I'd like to propose a permissive referendum for the sale of 2 lots of town property. These, yes,
Proposing a permissive referendum, or proposing to sell the property.
well, I'm proposing to sell the
And the
property,
property
but
sale
I
is
need,
subject to.
I need a permissive referendum to move forward. It isn't,
You're not proposing a referendum.
no,
Proposing the sale,
okay,
and that sale is subject to permissive referendum. So in other words, if somebody doesn't like the idea, they could submit a petition
yeah.
and require that it.
These are 2 lots of basically marshland on Main Street in South Salem. The price that we've been offered is several times what the assessor believes they are worth. And we would, of course, by selling them, start to gain taxes, which we haven't been getting for a very long time on them. And secondly, we would avoid the costs of dealing with trees which fall from these properties onto other properties or the road.
To be double clear, they're not buildable lots.
Then they are totally unbuildable, according to our wetlands inspector and according to the assessor who worked with our wetlands inspector.
And the assessed value. What's that? Why would somebody buy them?
Because they are probably buying them. I can't be certain because I can't put them against the wall and ask them. But I suspect they are buying them for 2 reasons. One, they are relatively close to their existing homes. And second, it is possible that they have lake rights in Lake Truesdale. What?
I don't know if we'll have to speak, like, more involved.
The lake rights are determined by Lake Truesdale, not the town. 1 acre, and one of the lots is 1 acre. What?
Yeah, the name's on there.
It's secretary and somebody else.
Yes, it is. The assessed value of these lots is 1,000 and 2,000, I think. All right.
And that's determined by the tax assessor.
Yes,
Market value.
it's determined by the tax assessor. That's the market value. What? The parcels are, and I'm just.
Yes.
Mary, so
If
you
you
wanna
would
say
like
something?
to, I was going to
Yeah.
speak, but I didn't want to, yeah.
Okay, one of the lots,
Mary's.
okay,
So, these properties have like that, as well, so like I said, it doesn't have lake rights, neither do I. They've got 2,000 down. So, getting lake rights and taking the property off the town board. I mean, offer started last year. You guys all pay that now? Well, I bought a piece of property from the town for $200,000. And it was useless for anyone else, because what they would run through it, but it's not useless to me, so I bought it. Correct. So it's not useless to you, we bought it. It's not useless to me, so I bought it. You're about to pay, right, but I paid. Now it's that market value. Right, you pay 50, that's very good. Yeah, of course, the one who's in for.
But why don't you put that up for auction? Make a deal with somebody, with that.
what?
There's nothing covert about this.
Hey.
There's nothing covert about this. It's just, this is.
So the question is, why was it put up for auction?
Ridiculous way to run it.
Because this is faster, easier, and cheaper.
So embarrassing. This is just embarrassing.
All right. We are planning to sell each of these for $5,000. They have been valued at $1,500 and $2,000.
They should go for the auction. We had a town property across the street and it took years to get action from the board on that. And it went up to public auction.
I was part of that, Martha. I was part of that. I was there with you. I was the one who put all these projects forward. I was, yeah, you were with me when it came to work. So there were town properties that were purchased up in the Utah area also. Properties that sat unused and no one's done anything with them. So I made an offer knowing that these properties would be taken off of the business and also be put back on the table.
Well, let me say that if you, that's a great job.
When I sold, when we sold similar lots around Lake Katona,
And one on Truesdale.
they've been owned by the town for 10 years or so, for more than that. Right? We're trying to get rid of any tax foreclosed lot. Hey, stop for a second. The town is trying to get rid of any tax foreclosed lot. And if you want to buy any tax foreclosed lot, I am going to be very open to selling it.
You're not, because we made an offer on the property across the street that, we made an offer and we were gonna allow the elder.
No, there's no offer made on that property. You were helping. You did not make an offer.
Okay. Can we stop this?
This is not an appropriate venue for any of this kind of thing.
Quite honestly, this is a town board vote. If you don't like this, stop. If you don't like this, then you should vote for you should get signatures for a referendum.
You were, I was part of your life, you're touching on property you did not want. What is
Listen, you know what?
This is not what they're.
Hey, Rob. Hey, look, stop. This is our meeting, all right?
No, it's our meeting.
All right, it's your meeting then. Would you like to take the seat?
Look, you want to sit there? I'll sit there. Oh, okay. I see it.
If you get elected,
So we-
sir, you will have every right to sit in that.
Listen, when he says take my spot, I'm more than welcome to take his
Well,
spot.
I am tired of being shouted down in a meeting I'm supposed to be running.
So we both see each other.
All right. I'm going to propose a motion to sell these lots and to put them up for a permissive referendum.
Are they locked in this open space or wetlands? Is wetlands?
They're wetlands.
Oh, so did you get approval from the wetlands inspector? and all that kind of stuff?
The wetlands inspector has declared them unbuildable.
Why don't you donate it to Westchester Land Trust?
What?
Why don't you donate it to Westchester Land Trust?
The town, what does the town gain from making a donation?
Maybe they would have given you $5,000 or $2,500.
The land trust doesn't just pick up random like plots. No,
And what they normally do
doesn't cost them money.
is to push it back to the town for maintenance. One of the plagues, quite honestly, that the town has got is the number of lots throughout the town that have been given to the land trust are absolutely useless for anything,
But Mr. Parsons,
and we have to maintain them.
I understand. And you know what? And I'm glad it's getting off our rolls, that we don't have to pay tax. I'm glad. But let's just go forward and think about this. Suppose if it was lakefronts, wasn't that allowed you to go on to Aquabug, like Truesdale, Kitchewan, you know? And so if somebody could pick up a parcel for $5,000 and get all the benefits of lakefront properties and being in the lakefront, wouldn't we say as a town, say, you know what, maybe it's worth a lot more? And maybe we could sell it for $7,500.
Because it's quicker, it's easier and cheaper to do it as proposed.
Somebody in town.
We don't make the determination if those lots have lake rights, that's why.
I'm glad that it's off our rolls. If it's wetlands, fine, let it go. But I also think that it should be open to
So,
discussion. People should know more about this. But if there's an opportunity to sell it at a better, higher price, I think we should. Granted, these two parcels, probably landlocked and there's swamps and there's just frogs in there and dead trees, get rid of it. But in the future, if something is of value, and especially if it's going to value the town, and we can make money on that and bump it up. Talk about COVID, what happened with COVID? You look at Florida real estate now, and everybody's asking for over 1,000% over asking prices.
I know.
and stuff. So as a town, I don't think we should just realize the potential of certain properties and sell it possibly for great. That's all I'm saying.
And I have auctioned several properties where I believe the auction would be worthwhile for the town. One was on Kitchewan Road. Was that the property that somebody was talking about, which was full of guns and things? Yeah, and that was auctioned. And it was auctioned for,
So the point is, why can't we do that for these properties? Maybe that's something we could.
well, because those were wealthy, we, quite honestly, they're significant properties. I am sure if the property on Wakeman becomes available, which I hope the courts will finally declare it foreclosed on and owned by the town, that will definitely be put to auction because it's a fair amount of money. And if my successor doesn't want to personally auction it, then he can employ an auctioneer to do it. What? Or alternatively, like the Golden's Bridge Community House, I just employed a real estate agent, or we employed a real estate agent to go out and get the best price they could. That was pretty satisfactory. You know, I think my record on getting rid of stuff has been pretty good. No, I can be judgmental as to how I can get the best price. Judgment.
Can we, what would it take if we did put it up for auction? How long is that process?
Oh, it's a long one.
Really?
Yeah. And it costs money. I mean, I've got to get a lawyer in to manage it. And that's going to cost money.
So is this really how we want to run meetings? Does this feel like a good, like a?
I'm just addressing the concerns of the.
I know that you're just, do you think that this is a good meeting? Like, this is a
I
good,
think it's worth having a discussion.
you like the way we're doing business?
Okay, I want to propose that we move ahead with these two lots and we sell them to these two individuals with allowing people to do a permissive referendum, to vote, to gain signatures for a referendum if they wish.
I have a question. Could you modify the motion to include independent appraisal, which would be incorporated?
We've got an appraisal right here.
We have an appraisal from the town assessor.
Yes, which is, and they're pretty good. She's pretty good at coming up with a market value. I mean, she does that the whole time in her job. Right?
Well,
When you go in and you appeal your assessment, she in essence does that based on market value.
well, so what I'm hearing from the facts here is that we have something that's being sold for well above fair market value. It's going to be on the tax rolls going forward, and it's also going to take away the town's ongoing maintenance obligation for the parcel.
Correct.
Can we,
Yes.
So there are two neighbors who are on the property that are directly across the street. And our thought was. People who would take care of them. Probably the property across the street. So, I'm not sure how it's for them.
Well, it's land, it's a street, it's on Main Street. It's land like on three sides. First street, yes.
Okay, so
Maybe people in the town should be excluded from buying clubs, town employees.
hey, Tony, aye or nay?
Did we get it? Who made the
Right.
motion? Who seconded it?
I made the motion.
And Rich asked some questions and made some clarifications, but he didn't, so we're trying to roll call. So that would be Rich, Tony, you, Dan, me.
Mrs. Claire, what was your concern with us to have an independent assessment?
that's some.
Well, I was listening to what you said. The issue is if we're ensuring that we're getting better than fair market value based upon the tax assessors, which professional ability to evaluate properties in the town. So I'm gonna well, actually, well, part of what tax assessors are supposed to do is go to the town, is supposed to objectively be fairly evaluate properties. The fair market, that's what we get. What we get on our tax bills talks about full market value. That's what the integral part of the job, which says on our line, if I remember correctly, it says full market value, and that's what we go based upon. So that's what the job is. So in light of those factors, I'll vote for the motion.
So we don't have a second. So Peter put out the proposal and I'm gonna second. And I
Okay.
hear an aye from Councilman Spire.
Okay,
Yeah, just based on what I'm hearing from the residents, yeah, I hear the point about the tax assessor providing a value that we have deemed to be below what's being offered. But I still think the auction would be the way to go, so I'm gonna go nay.
I voted in favor.
So I'm voting in favor. We auctioned off the property that was much better situated, prior to this, and that didn't get this kind of price stuff.
Peter, Janet, and Greg need your attention. Excuse me. Peter, Janet, and Greg wanted your attention.
Sorry?
You
Oh,
were recused.
sorry, I was
So
recusing, you're
Rich
right.
is an aye, Tony's a nay, Peter's recusing, you are an
Because
and I'm an aye.
I am relatively, I work next to Mary Hafton. That's why I'm,
So he
Okay.
appropriately recused himself from the vote.
Okay, next item. Okay, next item.
oh, okay. If I can.
So,
Right here,
can I
yeah.
give it, just so I have that piece of information, the approximate cost of an auction would be what? Because if the cost of the auction offsets the value that we'd be getting from this parcel,
Yes,
economically, it doesn't make sense at all.
But what's the cost of an auction? Is that just a notice? in the
well, let's
paper?
assume it's about,
I'm sorry?
Oh, Well,
We can't auction it with lake rights.
Well,
That's
no,
not
no, that's
something
what I'm
we
saying.
I
do.
can't auction lake rights because I don't.
no, but what's
And
the,
Mary doesn't even know that
what's
she
the,
has lake rights
just
yet.
is institutionally, what's the approximate cost of the auction? Excuse me, sir, please. What's the
price?
The
ballpark?
main cost will be the lawyer,
Okay,
which I seem to remember will be about $800, $600.
okay. So, yeah, so so based upon something that's
Whereas
evaluated 1 or
The
2,000.
transaction costs on this kind of a transaction
Right,
are paid by the purchaser.
so,
Can I ask
yeah.
you, if you have the assessment of the property, that you should know what the tax revenues of the town may go that.
Yes, I do have the assessed value.
Yeah, but then you should.
He would like to know the
tax revenues.
taxes. Do you know what the tax revenue is gonna be in that paperwork off the top of your head?
And where's that money gonna be earmarked?
And if not, we can follow up with our assessor and get back to you.
If the property's worth $1,000, you can go. Yeah, I mean, if it's $40 a year, I'll look at it.
We don't determine whether it has lake access.
I know the risk of $1,000. I'm just saying. I'll see if there's a reason. Yeah.
I'll split it with you.
I've seen an acre here for $1,000. So that's 5 years.
I know.
We can check in with the assessor and get back to you.
It sounds to me that the thing is that everyone's surprised because there's this property that's apparently sitting on the books. And all I recall was several years ago, houses that they were trying to sell. I did not know anything about any of them, and I would not have known. Yeah, and I think that's everyone's concern, not that they belong, fellow townsperson, and when it comes to the prize of it, and all of us that are big, and just what other properties are available. That's.
Yeah, we should make, we
It
should
should
make
be,
that.
yeah, it should be, if there's not, there should be an inventory of available town properties that people have access to.
Okay, in other places in the town, what has often happened on similar lots, like on Lake Katona, there were 2 lots. And people came to me and said, I want to buy that.
Okay.
And we sold it to
But
them.
we put
That's,
those
we
up
should
for
have
auction.
it, no, but we should
Right?
No,
have,
we didn't.
if we, you know, either, I guess we could get that. I would, yeah.
Yeah. You, yes. You grossly overpaid for the one on
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
Because I did it. Now, I used to pull a lot in Truesdale, $2,000. I came to you. You was auctioning. No one wanted it.
Nobody, it wasn't really an auction. It was an agreement between you and me in the end that 2,000, that you'd pay 2,000.
So, all right. I just heard though, the comment, I think it was a good comment that like have people know about these properties. And I think, we should make sure we have like a running list.
Yes.
Yes, put it on the
Exactly.
website.
Can a tax assessor put together an inventory of
Just make sure
available
it's always
properties
up
as
there.
well
The
as?
tax receiver can,
Okay,
yes.
so
And then we can
we
get,
post that with an inventory, as long as the fair market value is determined by the tax assessor, that information will be public, so people can look at it. If it's something they're interested in, then they'll have it in one place and everybody can access it. And if they're interested in acquiring it, then they have a way to go.
okay.
So moved.
That sounds great.
All right, I would like to move on to let's see again. One, yes, but it got sold, but if you disagree, you can go out and get signatures for a referendum.
It is subject to a permissive referendum.
Is that-
so
is
if
that
you would
the
like to
same
gather signatures to
10%
mount
of-
your objection
What's
to
the
the
referendum?
sale,
How many
you have that
signatures?
I don't know.
Greg, how many signatures? 10% of the last, of the what? Gubernatorial. So 600 votes. I mean, 600 signatures.
About 600
approximately.
signatures.
All right, I'd like to move on to announcements.
Public
Public comment period too.
Oh, all right, to public comment period 2. Anybody wish to comment?
Yeah, so it's on camera, so you want else to get closer to the microphone. So just-
The microphone's right here. We could-
I just wanted what's your name, please? Oh, no.
Sorry, Joe. Should be quiet.
Sorry about that. Joe. Some slides. Okay. Good.
Okay, Martha Goodman, Lewisboro, Hamlet. Just in the interest of getting more citizens, more information. Sometimes we stand up here or over Zoom, we ask questions, and many of us would benefit to hearing the answers to those questions, but it feels like we're just throwing the questions out into the air and they never land and we don't find out anything. So I don't know if there could be something on the website, the questions these citizens sent in, and these are the answers, so that we would all just be better informed on more of the issues.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Carol Cernak, Farming Farm, South Salem. I mainly wanted to come here tonight. I'm not a great public speaker. To thank everybody who showed up and expressing their voice, because it does matter. Little by little, it does matter. It might take a year or 2 years, but it does matter. I hope the board from this meeting understands how unhappy many of us are and how we do not agree with the protocol that you're following, or pretty much anything else that you're doing. Everybody has to follow the rules except you guys, and it's wrong. I was also, thank you, Rich, for the update on where we stand with the salt dome. I hope you're gonna hold Peter Rick to speak to the fire And when you place that for bid, that you have the correct information. If you help, I'm here to help. I've managed Farm Farm for 30 years, so I have lots of experience in tree work and tree maintenance and property maintenance. So thank you.
Jimbo from Vista. Just one thing in regards to the marijuana dispensary. I know that we had brought that up and it's probably gonna be a subject for later on.
2 weeks' time.
Okay, I'm dead set against it, obviously, especially my background. But I was thinking, I don't want it, if it goes through, to be put in Vista, because it seems like Vista is always the dumping ground. And I want that to stop. One of the places that I thought about would be perfect, would be the old school right next to the police department, and make that into a dispensary. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Alfano, Chief Alfano, would have a first-class observation on who comes to that. And you talk about security and people worrying about robbing the place, I think that would be a perfect location. Practically, I know that the room is we're short for space and everything else, and hopefully we can figure this out later. For myself, being Irish, there's only one person that I look up to, and that's God. And I don't like looking up to elected officials. I like to be on the same level as I. So hopefully in the future that we can all have kumbaya and sit on the same level. Thank you.
Anybody else? Matt? Yes, please.
So Holly Harris, South Salem, Twin Lakes. I'm just, I don't know how you do your formats, whatever, but I'm here with a strong opinion against the whole marijuana dispensary. And I would like to know where every board member stands and why they are for or against it. We can give you a whole list of reasons. So I'm standing on the ground that I am very much against it, and it sends a very wrong message to our youth.
I think, all right, I'd like to move on to, oh,
My name is Julia Buka. I'm from South Salem. I won't be here for the official public hearing regarding the marijuana dispensary, so I would love to share my thoughts regarding it. My family and I are strongly against marijuana stores or lounges in our area. It's disturbing what we are proposing to do around town. So yes, that's right. It is disturbing what we are proposing to do with our towns with the 3% of sales profits. $1 million worth of drugs to get the lousy $30,000 in taxes. Do we have a better, healthier way to fill the local budget with tax dollars? Why do we oppose small businesses to be open or expanded in the area but considering drug dispensaries? I personally witnessed during the planning board meetings the torture to expand and renovate Mercedes-Benz, almost pushing them out of the town and their taxes. I was there to see what it takes to build a single-family home here in town or put an extension to existing house. You ask homeowners, knowing that we have wetlands pretty much at every property, for one-to-one wetland mitigation plan, knowing it's completely ridiculous, and you know that there are no towns in Westchester that adopted single-to regulations. Double single-family homes property tax would provide more revenue than $1 million worth of drug sales, but the damage is uncomparable. We have a problem, as is with our police being part-time. Who is going to deal with drivers under influence and road accidents that those drivers cause? Are you planning to hire more police officers, and would that 3% of tax for marijuana cover the extra salary expenses? Best we can do is just opt out and let the residents decide. It's just.
All right, I'd like to propose that we approve claims.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to poll the board. Richard?
Good evening. I didn't have anything prepared, but just a couple of things winging it. First of all, on the marijuana legislation, which is going to be on for a public hearing July 12th. I mentioned my position on it last meeting, and also I kind of put forward the issues in the record review and I guess column that I had. The basic way I look at it myself personally, only speaking for myself, I think this is an opportunity for democracy in action here. So my view is that we should opt out, and if that exercise the democratic process, 10% of the voters for the last governor's election say that that's not the right way to go, then we'll have petitions which are circulated and it'll be on the ballot as part of a permissive referendum. So I don't want to, if I have an opportunity to opt out, and I think that's part of what the legislation was meant to do, is give localities the opportunity to opt out and more of an exercise of the democratic process. So that's my view on it. I'm not, there are arguments for and against it, but that's how I come down on it. A couple of other things, and this is just kind of a general thing. People have been talking about, like on social media, and hear about things being kind of divisive, and that's kind of upsetting to hear. I've been in town 23 years, and part of democracy is kind of messy, and you got to mix it up and have conversations. And people have all been at home for 16 months, and so pent up energy and stuff. It's all good. And I think it was Lincoln said democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. So we have a great town, and we're moving forward in a lot of issues. We had our Juneteenth celebration, which I thought was terrific and put together pretty quickly. Annual Pride event, which was done, and I participated in both of those. We're moving forward in a lot of good ways, and there's a lot of issues that we have to address, but I'm here to try and address all those issues that we have to address one at a time. This is a part-time position. We're here, and people who try and communicate with me all different times of hours, I respond, and Tony works 95 hours a week, and it's his part-time job. The people up here, we communicate like virtually every day. So this is just so you know, we're all working really hard for the town. We all bring different things to the table. We're all trying really hard on behalf of all of you. We're all vested in this community. We all care about this community, and we're all going to try and improve things and bring things to the table as time goes on. Our heart's in the right place. We care about this town and everybody in this town, and we're going to continue to address these issues one by one.
Tony?
Yeah, so I want to echo what Rich was saying about the recent celebrations that we had, the Juneteenth and Pride. They were great events. We also had a third event, which was the LPD had their child seat safety instruction to parents. It was also an opportunity to have coffee with the cop. And then we even had some cars. So next year maybe it'll be cars, coffee, and child seats. Yeah. So classic cars, not the regular cars. But yeah, in terms of the cannabis decision, yeah, So we're up here and we are responsible for legislation within our town, right? So we're the ones that are making a decision. The cannabis decision is an opportunity given to us by the governor in the state of New York to allow the people to make a decision. And so for that reason, as well as other reasons, I mean, there's still a lot of unknowns. I think we need more time to really figure out what's going to come out of this cannabis board or the Office of Cannabis Management. And we need to understand what are the local laws. If it does get, we're not opting in, but if it does become permissible in the town, what can we do to, with our local laws to reduce the impact on the community, right? And be able to support everyone's wishes. So with that, I think, with the referendum, it gives us an opportunity for us not being the ones to legislate, but to allow the people to legislate. So my opinion also is to opt out from that law. So that's my position there. And just on a completely different topic, the wireless master plan. We had a call about a week and a half ago with Cityscape, the organization that is doing this wireless master plan study for the 7 municipalities, which includes Lewisboro. They gave us a presentation of where they are with the study. They're looking to gather some additional geographic information from the county. So I've helped them with getting that information so they can complete the study. And we will have a survey that'll go out. So we now have close to a final version of the survey that we're reviewing with them. It'll go out soon. And then we'll have a follow-up discussion with them specific to Lewisboro and what their study tells us about wireless technology and cell towers and cell sites that we need in town. And so as soon as we have that information, we'll be able to put it out to the public and then make our decisions based on that study. So that's all I have. So, but thank you all for coming out.
Great.
I guess we talked about the success of Pride. We had about over 300 people in and out that day. It was a very unifying community event, as was Juneteenth, which was a little bit more last minute put together. I am sad to hear about all the anger and divisiveness people feel as well, because that is not my experience in this community other than here and on public forums. And it's a lot of the same voices. And so I wouldn't be, and yes, Robin, you giggling in the audience, Robin Legendowski, you are one of them, for sure.
It's because of you.
And so, well, I take that personally as a compliment, because I wouldn't be sitting up here if I didn't feel that I
Hey, stop. This is her opportunity. This is her opportunity to speak.
You're a town official.
This- She is also a citizen.
This is my
Hey, let her speak.
The private citizen came up here and used her own name twice and told her and been yelling from the.
I think we should go to the town attorney and ask her, is she
At what
allowed to
point
call
do
out
I have
a-
room to speak, Jimbo? You tell me where it's
private
okay.
citizen?
It's
Would
not
you
okay in
let
my own
her
meeting,
speak?
it's not okay on social media.
You're
Somebody
hostile.
said to me 2
You're
meetings ago,
setting me.
I don't want
You're
to hear your
setting me.
thoughts out
You're
loud.
setting me, you're hostile, you're hostile, you're
I'm
setting me.
hostile. I'm sorry.
You're upsetting me, you're getting very hostile.
I have
Oh,
sat,
very
You're
sensitive.
getting very hostile.
I have sat
You're
through,
getting very hostile.
She's not gonna fight with a citizen. Vote her out.
Go
This is
ahead.
unacceptable.
Town attorney should rule on this.
No.
I wouldn't even do that.
Private citizen.
That was an ad hominem attack, which is not allowed. That's actually, that was actually.
What was an ad hominem attack?
You
Oh,
picked
we'll play
Robin
it on YouTube.
Legendowski, you're the one that's always talking.
Oh, no, you laughed at me and I said, yes, you are one of the people.
Look,
that-
please, I'd like to bring this meeting to a close. We have got some other items to work on tonight.
Was that an ad hominem attack? I want to know now.
No.
I have been in meetings
Yes,
every,
yes.
every town and city in Westchester. I have never seen
Yes, we're
anything like
angry.
this.
Get it?
Never seen
Because you
anything
didn't
like
Because
this.
nobody knows in your time, man.
That's
You
not the
are
way. Wait a
angry.
minute.
That
Yeah,
is the
everybody
truth.
gets that. And
You are
guys-
angry. I
Let me
am sorry for
Let me
that.
finish.
Calm down.
Every-
I'm a citizen. I'm allowed to
I'm
be
sorry, but you guys
You're just
have
an
been
angry
doing this every single
You
meeting
guys.
for the past like 8 months.
No, a year,
This is
a
true.
full year
Let me-
of this.
and
And I'm
number
so
two-
sad to see this come to
number two,
Lewisboro. It's everywhere.
please understand.
You, Brian, you
Hey.
are racist.
right, let's-
Look, by going on
I brought
talking like this,
racism. I brought
you are
such
just
racism.
delaying the meeting.
Russians, you're in charge. You have to.
I've been saying stop,
You're in charge.
stop.
Stop her.
No, you, stop.
I'm a citizen.
Jane.
I'm allowed.
Talk.
Let me finish.
It's your stage.
It doesn't, where do I get to talk? When is there ever a space for me to talk? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Hold on a second.
Right
Like,
now.
You don't seem to understand that public comment, we
I did not
receive,
comment.
but it's not like, we've been doing this,
I
we've been doing a
didn't say a
dialogue
word.
all this,
There.
we're not gonna be able to run
You
meetings
can't
this way.
She mentioned me.
We're not gonna be able to run meetings this way.
You came up
okay?
here and said your own name.
No.
Twice.
Right.
Hey,
I was doing
look,
public comment.
Everybody knows you're here and you said your own name.
What is that?
Hey.
What you said?
Because you laughed at me and I said to you,
Robin,
that's my perception.
Jane has got to finish, all right?
I
So
didn't interrupt
please,
her.
Let's
quiet.
Let's
This
let
is
her
the
finish.
only place that is angry and all of those community forum boards. And I am up here because I represent people. If I didn't, I wouldn't be sitting up here. And we'll see. So what are you gonna do on November 3rd? What are you gonna do on November 3rd if I win? Are you gonna come and apologize?
Every single meeting.
And keep yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling?
You and everybody else that I disagree with.
And that's what you've been doing, harassing.
Look, there is some town business to be done. Jane,
Ooh, vitriol. Those-
finish.
I don't have anything left to say.
Okay,
You
Dan,
never have anything left to say.
Dan,
You're sad. You're welcome.
Sweet.
Dan,
Yeah, I'm like,
You will not be voting for me. I'm fairly certain you didn't vote for me the first time. You're not gonna vote for me again. Me too.
hey, stop. Dan is speaking. Dan is speaking.
all right, so we're gonna have to figure this out. We can't have a meeting where every meeting, the same group of people comes and yells out and.
Oh my
and
gosh, every
just-
community board, it's like you just bring.
Being a resident.
No,
No,
Dan
no,
is
being a
speaking.
resident does not give you the right in the middle of the meeting to just insert whatever you want willy-nilly. It's not like, it's a meeting and there is an order to it. You can come up with public comment, you can, give us information about stuff that we don't know and complain about stuff, but please try to keep it, if it's over and over again about how, like, stuff you've been saying all the time about, like, oh, you never do this, like, that's not productive. It's just not. Come with your positions and. Yeah, good. I'm so happy.
It is on
Like,
camera.
what's wrong with that? This, like, I've never seen anything like this. I hope that we can transition to something. You guys are welcome to come, but I hope we can transition to something where we're just having a normal dialogue.
It's a strategic movement, small town governments, people coming and yelling every meeting. We have our own policy.
Okay, a few things I should bring you up to date on. First of all, we're trying to form a grants committee, which is pretty darn important. By definition, everybody in this room is to some extent interested in town government, otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you're interested, please be part of it. And I'm looking for people to work on grants. Okay, it is boring, it is tough, and it is difficult. I am still looking for people to do that.
We have one person on the grant advisory committee, and we approved it between 3 and 5. So if anybody knows anybody, or you're interested yourself, please put in a letter of interest along with a resume, and we want to get people interviewed as soon as possible.
Next, I had a meeting this morning on Lake Katona. Some of this is just so that people don't say, oh, I never knew that you were doing anything. There is a pipe taking drainage, stormwater into Lake Katona, and with it, it's taking quite a lot of silt. And basically, the objective of this morning was to try to get the East of Hudson Watershed Corporation to pay to remedy that broken pipe. I think there's a very good chance that we were successful in that. That in essence is using city money to clean it up. And I think we can do two things. I think we can clean it up and at the same time make it a lot more attractive as a part of the lake. Next, for 2 years, the supervisors of the area have been working on a study of the traffic on 684 and 84, which, as almost everybody knows, is causing total chaos in this town. So that we have people pouring down Boughton with Connecticut plates on and coming down from Richfield. We have the same on Mead Street. We have the same, it's all over town. Then we have people scared of going through Katona in the morning because of the traffic jam on 684. Finally, we have completed a corridor study. Unfortunately, to do the whole thing would cost $1.5 billion with a B, yes. And
But that's New York State paying for it, not us. Just to be
well,
clear.
I am hoping to submit this to the federal government, who I think we have a better chance of them funding it than New York State.
It's the 684 and 84 corridor. So they want to eliminate all the bottlenecks. Like when you go to the Danbury Mall, for example, you get that single lane. How?
Well, it's extra lane.
It's a study that they've
basically.
been working on for about, what, 2 years now?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the additional lanes and on 684 by bringing the by expanding 684 by 1 lane and doing the same up on 84, improving the junctions with 684 and 84, improving the junction between the sawmill and 684. It goes on for pages, quite honestly.
And in terms of the impact to us, it's also the Route 138 interchange.
Yes.
Bridge.
But basically, it's a question of trying to allow the traffic through more smoothly, particularly in the morning, but also in the evening.
Worked on for a couple of years. And
Yes.
Lots of community sessions and workshops and all that kind of stuff. This is a report coming out of that.
And this is finally the report coming out. And quite honestly, I and Assemblyman Burdick are planning to submit it to our congressman, who's on the Transportation Committee of the House of Representatives, and hope that it can be at least some of this money might come as part of the infrastructure improvements that they're planning.
Well, wasn't our congressman successful in getting part of the funding for 138? That was.
Yes.
Yes.
He got funding for 138. He's got funding for quite a lot of things from being on the Transportation Committee. Finally, if you look on the website, you will find our controller's annual financial report and update document for 2020. And on it, you will find that we managed to navigate our way through the chaos of COVID somehow. For instance, departmental income for Park and Rec, not surprisingly, was down by $740,000. Fines were down by $103,000 because the traffic court wasn't sitting. The building department increased its revenue by 215. The result of this in total, after you included the sale of the Goldens Bridge Community House, was that our unassigned fund balance went up by $500,000. That was, I wish I could say that that was planning, but quite honestly, it was day by day navigating our way through the impact of COVID, which was pretty darn huge. I mean, losing 738,000 of revenue in Parks and Rec is difficult. That's it.
So the bottom line with that report is that our potential bond ratings.
Yeah, we're in bed. We're getting very near a situation where the state controller's office might well increase our bond rating again.
Let's do financial news.
That's it. I'd like to propose that we adjourn to executive session.
Next meeting and executive session.
Oh, I
for
always
legal and
forget the
personnel.
next meeting.
Like,
The next meeting is July 12th. It will be held here. It will be at 7:30. And it will include 2 public hearings.
Motion to go into executive.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel
And legal.
and legal. Yes, all right. Yes, and a legal issue.
And a second?
Do I get a second?
Second.